Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm here with my fiancé. And we are going to be doing a little engagement tell-all. I asked you guys on my Instagram story what questions you had, so we're just doing like a little proposal engagement Q&A.
Yeah, let's do it.
Someone asked, how did you know this was the year to get engaged and married? Congrats.
Thank you. How did we know? It just kind of fell into place.
Yeah, because it was kind of spur of the moment is what I was going to say. Because like our original plan, pretty much, well, like the whole time we've been together has been 2026. But like the longer we date, the more quickly I feel like we want to get married. Because when we first started dating, I was like, I'm going to have to be through with undergrad and grad school before we get married. So it's going to be like 2028. He was like,
Sure.
And then over time, I was like, yeah, I don't really like, I did want to be done with undergrad, which I will be. I graduate in May. But then it transitioned to, okay, I don't have to be done with grad school, but I have to be done with undergrad before you can propose. And we'll get married in May. And then most recently it switched to, okay, I just have to be 21 when we get married. These are just things in my head that I want to check off a box. It's not like my mom is like, I'm not going to be supportive of your marriage if you're not 21. It's just like my own idiosyncrasies, but it's also
That's
like
a fun word.
That timing is just going to work out really good for us.
Yeah.
So.
Pretty much just perfect timing.
If I'm remembering, you said you thought close to V-Day he'd propose. What date? Yeah, I thought he was going to propose like on Valentine's Day weekend because our anniversary is February 19th, which is a Wednesday, and so I'm still going to be at school most likely, and we don't really have plans for our anniversary or Valentine's Day yet. But he took like the entire weekend off, and I was like, okay. And he kept asking when my nail appointment was then. And I was like, why does he keep asking that? And then I also thought, like, obviously it's Valentine's Day and it's our anniversary, so I thought it was going to be something like that. So I was very shocked when we got engaged earlier.
I was leading you on purpose.
Okay, one for you. How long were you planning the proposal for?
About 3 months. Had thought into it. But it actually, like, planning it out about 1 full month. Because it was like October, I was like, I think I want to do it ASAP. And that transitioned into the idea of doing it in March, this upcoming March. So a good ways away. And then in November, I was like, I don't know what to plan, I don't know what to do. So then I started actually like conceptualizing the idea. And we went to the ring store, to ring shop, like end of November, beginning of December, I think. End of December 19th. And then by that point, I had almost decided on what I wanted to get her. And then I just had to make some tweaks to the ring. And then I actually almost bought the ring in December.
Really?
And then I bought it in January. And then...
Was it a different ring?
No.
Oh.
But I'm glad I didn't. Well, partially. The ring itself would have been different. Same diamond.
But the band would have been different.
Yeah.
What would that have looked like?
Not that.
But what would it
just a band.
Like? Oh, okay.
Because that's all they can make.
Oh, okay.
And then, yeah. About all of January I was planning.
He has a blue light alarm set for every day at 8. While he's doing that, there were a couple questions. Someone said, if you could go back and change your outfit, would you? And someone else said, do you regret not wearing white? I personally don't want to. Love you both. Congrats. Thanks again. No, okay, I might have gone back and changed my outfit just for the fact of I wasn't wearing a bra because I didn't pack a bra. Like I had sports bras, but I didn't have like a real bra. And so I was like, oh well, it's a dinner, like I have a jacket, it'll be fine. So I felt kind of constricted in my reaction to the engagement because like internally I wanted to jump up and down.
Really?
But physically I was not wearing a bra, so that wasn't an option. So I would go back and change that and I would have packed a bra or worn a bra. But as far as like not wearing white, no, I don't regret not wearing white. And I had bought a few outfits in preparation for the engagement, but none of them were white because I just find it personally like tacky, and I that sounds judgmental. And if you wear white when you get engaged, like that's totally fine. It doesn't affect me. But for me personally, that just signifies like, okay, you knew you were going to be getting engaged, and I would rather wear white in my like planned engagement photo shoot instead of my surprise proposal. So I wouldn't have worn white, but I might have changed my shirt. What about family name? Are you going to change yours to his or hyphenate and your kids? Yeah, I'm going to be changing my last name. I'm not going to hyphenate it. And I've never, like, that was never really, honestly, something of conversation, product of conversation. What am I trying to say? Yes. That was never really a topic of conversation for us because, I don't know, I've just always grown up thinking I would change my name, and I've never been that sad about it. And then he obviously wants me to take his name, so.
Yeah.
I also feel like Smith is like a very generic name. Maybe if it was something like, I don't know what a circumstance would be where I wouldn't want to take my husband's last name.
Buttwinkle. Would you take that last name? Maybe
if it was something like that, or like something where I thought my kids would be made fun of.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah, maybe in that situation. Like, our kids will be Smiths, I'll be a Smith. I'm excited about that. I'm actually so excited.
Sorry.
Did you suspect anything before it happened? I did, just like the tiniest little bit, because I was like, man, this would be like a good occasion that all of us are dressed up, and also our family was there. But I really didn't think anything of it, so much so that I didn't wear a bra. But I think that's because he was so good at the confusing me part, because, for example, his mom came here for his birthday. But the way they orchestrated that was he was with me, and his mom called him the day before his birthday and is like, hey, I was going to drive up and surprise you, but I decided I should call to make sure that you're even going to be there. And he's like, oh, yeah, great. That's so exciting. And I'm just overhearing the phone calls. I thought it was a surprise to both of us that she was coming. So to me...
But I actually knew a whole week before.
Yeah, like they had planned that together, her coming here. And I mean, it was partially for his birthday, but it was also for the engagement.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, dang, that sucks that it's a surprise. Because if he knew, then he probably would have tried to plan the proposal around then.
Yep.
But I also thought, I don't know, I remember driving there and thinking I should enjoy this. This could be my last time as a girlfriend. But I didn't really expect it. And you can even see in one of the videos I post, it's like we're walking into the restaurant and I just keep on walking. And he like has to stop me because I keep walking.
Completely stop you.
And the other day we were watching the video and he was like, dang, you were ready to get inside.
You were like trotting in there.
I know. So whenever he stopped me, I was like, wait. For real? Like, I
and
wasn't
like
just romanticizing this, which that was just super fun. You didn't have any other rings on. Did they tell you to take them off? LOL. I love this question. Like, you guys are so observant.
That is crazy.
So actually, I had worn, I always wore 2 rings on my ring finger before I was engaged, but I had even told him, and then I wear another ring on my right hand, on my middle finger, and those are like my everyday rings. But in preparation for me getting engaged somewhat soon, I had started wearing the rings that I usually wore on my left hand on my right, because you know you start wearing a ring for the first time and your fingers have to like adjust to the feeling of a new ring. So I was like, yeah, I switched my rings over because I needed my hands to adjust and I don't want to like get proposed to and it's like in the pictures of me reacting, it's like I already have a ring on my finger, you know? So I had just started doing that on my own and it just worked out. But then like I was wearing the rings on my right hand in the pictures. You just can't see as much because like it's my left profile. But then when we took more pictures, like after the actual engagement part, my photographer was like, do you want to leave your rings on or you want to take them off? And I took them off.
Yeah, I totally thought that you knew because it was the week of that you switched them to your right hand.
Yeah, I did not.
Oh no, she knows.
When do you think you will do your wedding? We are getting married in October. We booked our venue before we were engaged, so we already had our date in mind before we were even engaged, which was also another reason where it's like we knew we had to get engaged somewhat sooner because like that's why I had an idea of the general time frame because I knew when we're getting married, so I was like, okay, I gotta get proposed to sometime soon.
And I actually, like I said, I was actually going to do it in March, and that was almost in stone, that plan. And then we booked the venue. I was like, oh, I can't wait that long.
Yeah.
Like, I've got to get this rolling.
So basically that was his plan until we booked the venue, and he was like, all right, we're going to have to figure something else out. What was picking out the ring process like? Did you know what ring you were getting? I also love this question because I love talking about my ring. And I also love just hearing about the process. So basically we went ring shopping in December because I had always had an idea of what I wanted, but I was like, let's try some on. Well, actually that wasn't even a planned thing either. I had told him, hey, I want us to go ring shopping together, but I'm not going to plan that. You're going to have to plan it. And then for one of our like month anniversaries, because we still celebrate every month anniversaries, he had surprised me with like a date to go ring shopping. And so we did that so that we could get a general idea of what I liked. But I didn't, like, some people told me in my comments that they went ring shopping and picked like 3 of their favorite rings, and then they just had their partner pick like one of those 3 rings. We didn't do that, which that's a pretty good idea in my opinion. But none of the rings there were like exactly what I wanted. I just liked bits and pieces of a bunch of different rings.
Yeah.
So I just told him, and he saw what I liked, and then he went back on his own and did the process of picking out my ring. So I did not know what it looked like. I had a general idea of what to expect, but that was something that gave me so much anxiety because he had, like, I knew he had the ring, but I had no idea what it looked like. I could try to imagine what I thought it looked like, but I didn't know for sure.
Yeah.
But then what was the process like of actually getting this
And we
ring?
went to 3 different stores too.
Yeah.
That day we tried them on. We went to one, it was like meh, and we went to the one I got it from. And I would say that's one of the biggest things is like liking the store and the people that you're working with.
For sure.
Because we went to that one, and then we went to BC Clark.
Which is like a super
It's like
fancy,
a commercial fancy store. And it was just very superficial. They saw us and they knew that we weren't going to buy because we're young kids. And that was just not really the vibe. And so that's why I bought it from the store that we really liked.
Yeah.
But the process wasn't like hard or complicated. It was much more simple than I actually thought. Because really, I went in like 3 or 4 different times. Essentially, all you have to do is, if you're going to do a natural diamond, just pick out the ring that you want. And then if it works, like, because at the ring store we went to, they have a showcase of natural diamond rings already in rings with those diamonds. And if you like it, you get it. And it's as simple as that. And then you can resize it.
For us, we went with a lab-grown diamond.
Yeah.
So that meant he had to order the diamond not from the store. Like, the store places the order for you, but then it has to get shipped to the store, right?
Yeah. And then they make your ring. My jewelry store, they hand make their rings. But while I was there, I actually saw literally just this in the showcase. And I was like, that's really pretty. I want that ring. And so then I was just like, hey, can you put my diamond inside of this ring and have it set in there? And they're like, yeah. And so I was like, great, let's do that. And it was perfect.
Yeah.
Because it's really, really nice. And it's like perfect.
Yeah.
It's European.
It is.
It's got some cute little designs. It's cathedral, so it's going to be raised for your wedding band.
Yeah. So essentially his process, like, it'll differ for everyone, but his process was like, okay, guys, help me pick a lab-grown diamond. And that's another thing I wanted you to talk about is he was in between 2 diamonds. He was in between the one I got, which is a 1.9. I don't know what, like, the VS, what all that stuff is. Do you?
Yeah. I think it's a VS1F. Let me see.
So anyway, they had 2 options for him. It was this one, which is a 1.9.
So this is a 1.9 VS1F color. So, like, nearly colorless. It's the 3rd colorless color. VS1 is like the 3rd most clear. Is that what VS is?
I don't know.
I think the VS is the clarity, so it was VS1 clarity. As far as like bubbles and imperfections, and 1.9 carats. But I was in between that and then the next ring. I wanted to be closer to like 2 or 2.1, but the next diamond that was available for order was 1 up, but it was 2.4. Was
it the same VS1?
It was similar. I think it was 1 down color and the same VS1.
So it was a little bit of a less perfect diamond, but it was bigger by almost half a carat.
Yeah, well, exactly half a carat. It was larger. But I got out 2 to get a visual since we were ordering it. and the 2.4 was just like huge, and I thought it would be a little too much.
Especially because for me, like that's what we were just talking about today. Like this size is really good because it's big enough to where I can have my band still have diamonds in it and it won't look flashy. But if it was like that 2.5, I feel like, or 2.4, I feel like I would just have to have a very simple band.
Yeah.
Which I want like a more fun wedding band. So yeah, that was what that process was like. I was so excited for us to like get engaged so we could debrief about the entire process because it's so hard. He's like my best friend. So I want to know everything, but I also obviously didn't want to know everything. But I was very excited for once we got engaged and we could debrief on the whole process.
Yeah. You look so pretty in this lighting.
Thanks. What's your guys' dream honeymoon? Greece. We want to go to Greece. But we get married in October, and I'm most likely going to be in grad school around then, and also we're going to have just paid for a wedding, so we're not planning on doing our honeymoon until the summer after we get married so we can save up, and also so we can go during the summertime. But that is also going to depend on what grad school looks like for me, because a lot of graduate programs, you actually don't get a full summer break. You get like 1 week off. Yeah. So we're kind of just going to see what happens with that. Does John also wear a ring? So many people ask about this.
I do. I love my ring.
So
I have just like a plain silver ring. Well, it's not plain, but it's just a normal silver ring.
This is what he wears. It's like polished silver right here, but he's worn this for almost a year now. I got this for him for our 2.5 year anniversary. Wait, 1.5 year anniversary?
2.5.
No.
Because I had one. And it got like all messed up at one of our vacations.
Oh.
And you got me a new one.
Yeah, so basically when I had worn my promise ring, he also had a promise ring. And that's just what this is. We just upgraded it, but it's not going to be his wedding ring.
No.
We still have to go and pick that out together, but this is just a good placeholder until then.
Yeah.
That he's worn before we were engaged is basically the same as when I wore my like Pandora promise ring.
Yeah.
Where did you get your rings from? My engagement ring is from Rings Etc., which is just like a local family-owned store.
And this is Jackson.
Yeah, that one is from Jackson, which it was only like $80, and it's actually really good quality. It doesn't tarnish, and it has weight to it. And then my original rings that I wore were just Pandora. Yeah. I think you booked your venue beforehand. I'm curious about that. I'd love to know more. Thank you for asking this nicely, because it ruffles a lot of people's feathers that we did that. Which I'm like, why does that bother you? It's not your wedding. But yeah, so originally what we had planned is that my uncle owns a bunch of land, and it's very sentimental to me because I kind of grew up there, and obviously that would be a free space for us to use. So our original plan was that we were going to be getting married on his property. But once my mom and I started talking more seriously about me getting engaged, she was like, I'm not trying to like tell you shouldn't get married there because I'm all for it, but I just want you to consider your options because although you do have to pay for a venue, there are perks to it. Like you don't have to do the setup and the cleanup at some venues. They have accessible bathrooms because the other issue with his property is we would have to probably rent porta potties.
Yeah.
And he lives on like 8 miles of dirt roads, so that's difficult for people who are traveling out of town. So anyway, there's just a lot of considerations where we were like, okay, yeah, let's consider looking at a venue. So I had started looking at venues online just to see what was out there. And our wedding venue, I saw a picture and I was like, I'm obsessed. Check the pricing. I was like, wait, this seems really reasonable for what they're offering. And so I texted him because I was like, okay, this is crazy, but I just saw this venue. And also, like, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks after I had seen the venue, they were having an open house, which is basically like, come check out our venue, talk to some of our vendors, blah, blah, blah. So we did that. We just kind of went to see, to feel it out. And we fell even more in love with it there. We brought them a bunch of questions we had that we were confused about on their website. They answered them well. And we did what was called a soft hold. So we put our name down on a date, but we had, what was it, like a week, I think? A week before we had to like sign contracts. And then after you sign the contracts, you have 72 hours before you have to make your first deposit. So that's what we did.
But then the only caveat with the soft hold was if somebody else actually wants to put down a deposit, Because somebody else did put another soft hold on
Yeah,
that same
so we
date.
were the first soft hold, which was just really lucky because right after we had left, someone else had put their name down for our same date.
But then there's, I don't know if it's one day, but I think if somebody's like, well, I want this date, here's a deposit, we have, I think just one day to either make the decision of, hey, here's our deposit first, or no, we'll do another day.
Yeah. But yeah, so we booked it and I have no regrets. Like even since we booked our venue, I've looked at other venues and I'm like, dang, I love ours. I love
ours is like
so
amazing. I love it. Did you like the scenery I picked?
Did you like the scenery we picked? Yeah, I did. One thing I thought was pretty special about it actually was that in the pictures, there's 2 lion statues in front of the door, and my grandma had lion statues outside of her house. So I was just like, that just kind of felt like she was here, which was nice.
Yeah.
But originally, if you watch my full story time on this, you would know that that wasn't actually where he was planning on proposing, because Castle Falls is a restaurant and a wedding venue. That's where we got engaged. And they have this really pretty like waterfall and gazebo and like bridge in the front of the restaurant. And that's where he had originally planned to propose. But there was actually a wedding on the night of our proposal. And so whenever we were going, that's when they were having their cocktail hour, which was out in that area. So he couldn't propose there. So they last minute had to like switch sides. So a part of me does wish that it would have been there, but also like...
It worked out amazingly.
Yeah, like I wouldn't have changed it. That would have been awesome. But I mean, I still love what happened. How are you both feeling in the moment of the engagement or up until?
I was so nervous. I was like freaking out. I was shaking all day long. And like the week leading up to it, any sort of topic about it, because your sister knew, your mom knew, my mom knew. Anytime it was ever mentioned, I would just like start getting so nervous and just start freaking out. But yeah, like the day of and leading up to it, super nervous all day long, shaking all day long, practicing my speech.
It's interesting. I mean, I didn't really know it was happening. So leading up to it, I was chilling, but...
You were so chill.
It's really interesting because like we're very inseparable.
Yeah.
And that day, like I had stayed the night here and we had dinner at 5, but I didn't bring enough stuff to get ready here. And so I was gonna have to go back to my house to get ready. But I mean, I could have left at like 4 to go get ready and he could have picked me up. Instead, I left his house at like 11. Like I just weirdly wanted space for some reason. Like we weren't fighting or anything. Yeah. But I was just like, I kind of want to be alone. Like I'm going to go home and get ready. Mm-hmm. But looking back on that, like that was definitely helpful for him because then he was able to like call and talk to Michaela and Hannah when the whole situation with the wedding going on happened, because if I was here, like we would have been together and he wouldn't have been able to secretly answer those calls and deal with all of that. So that worked out. But also I was just like kind of in like a grumpy mood leading up to the dinner because I didn't eat very much because I knew we were gonna have this fancy dinner. And my mom and my sister were obviously like so amped up because they knew it was gonna happen. But for me, I was just like, why are they being so annoying? Like I was just getting so overstimulated because they just like kept coming into the room, trying to talk to me, showing me different things. And I was like, oh my gosh, I came home because I want space. And so I don't know, I just felt like super overstimulated in the moment, and then looking back on it, obviously now I know it's because they were so excited. So kind of funny. How long do you guys think people should wait to get engaged? I think that it's like not a one size fits all type of thing. I think it's very like context dependent. But I would say if you're older, like we're not old, like I'm 20 and he's 21. I'll be 21 when we get married, but that's still pretty young. But we've known each other for 3 years. So for us, I feel like that's a good time frame, but for other people, it might not be. But what I was saying is once you're older, like 25 and up, I feel like a year or 2 years is enough.
Yeah.
But it's seriously so context dependent.
Yeah, it really is. You're so good at answering these.
How do you deal with the "you are so young, are you sure" comments? They don't bother me at all. And we were talking about that. I think it's just like, because I do get bothered by a lot of comments, but those ones just, to me, are such an eye roll because
Yeah,
if
seriously.
you're going to say that, it's clearly that you don't know anything about us or our relationship because everyone in our lives is supportive of it. And so it's not something I'm insecure about whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, I would have married you after dating for 6 months.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just not something I'm insecure about. Are your parents supportive of you getting married when you're 20? So I'm actually getting married when I'm 21, but only by a few months. So I know that's not a big difference, but yeah, our whole families on both sides are supportive. Our friends are all very supportive. My mom was less supportive initially. She just didn't want us to feel like we had to rush into anything, but now she's like very supportive. And I'd say like less supportive initially. This is like probably a year into dating. Yeah, like she's super excited and they're all so happy. They're all honestly like our biggest supporters and
really
advocates
are.
for it. They're
Yeah.
very on board.
Even the people who are typically like, oh, don't get married young.
Yeah, and that's
are
how
like
you know.
all for it.
Yeah, that's how you know it's good is when
Yeah.
which obviously they probably wouldn't say like, don't get married, you're too young.
Sure.
But they're like so supportive. I know it's not fake. If it was fake support, they wouldn't offer to like help us with money if we needed it or something like that, you know?
Miss you. I want to cuddle.
I love you. You doing okay? How long into your relationship did you know you wanted to propose to me?
17 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. We started talking, and then you didn't answer my text for a whole day. And then we talked a little bit more.
When did I not answer your text?
The first day. Because you didn't have makeup on and you didn't want to snap me with no makeup on. So you waited and left me undelivered for a whole day.
You didn't even notice.
All day long.
He definitely didn't.
But then
notice.
she snapped me back and we started talking. I was like, yep, I'm marrying this girl.
He definitely did know very early on though, because like on our first few dates, he was like endearingly calling me his wife.
Yeah, it was
Which
immediately.
was super sweet.
I think what's so funny is, because I did, that's funny you mentioned that. I called her wife, like just like, oh, my wife.
Yeah.
Like our 1 month anniversary. Yeah. I was like, happy 1 month to my wife. But we started dating back in high school, and I had like this teacher, like small groups in school. And this teacher, who was my small group leader, had slid up on one of my stories back in high school whenever I had said that. And he said, wife, question mark? I said, haha, not quite, but I wish. He said, one day, brother, one day. And then we didn't message each other all the way until I got proposed. And then he replied to my story of me proposing to you.
I didn't know that.
Like, look at that.
This first message where he replies to the story, he says, wife, question mark? It's August 1st, 2022.
Yeah.
But even earlier, like February 2022, he was calling me wife.
As soon as I asked you out.
But also, he's just very much the type of person where he was always going to date to marry anyway.
Yeah.
So he wasn't going to, like, I'm his first girlfriend. But he was never going to date someone he didn't see himself marrying. So that's just the type of person he is.
Yeah, so that kind of plays into the actual answer of like, I knew that because I was dating you, I was going to marry you. But if we're getting deeper into the question of like, how did you know, when were you 100% certain? I honestly don't know. I think like 99% certainty 6 months in.
Yeah.
And the 1% was just like the not knowing, because I had never been in a relationship before and because we were still in our honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
And then 2.5 years later, still in the honeymoon phase, still madly in love. Now we're fiancés.
Yeah, I also feel the same way. Like, whenever we first started dating, I was very much like, this is my husband. But also there was like the back of my head where I'm like, that's unrealistic. You guys are going to break up.
That's what I was
Especially
thinking.
coming from a crappy relationship. I was just expecting it to be short term, but I was thinking I was romanticizing it by assuming that we were going to get married. But then 6 months in, I was sure that I could marry you right then and there, and I knew that we would be married forever. So after 6 months, I had built up enough confidence in like us and our relationship that I thought, yeah, we're going to be getting married without a doubt.
Yeah, about 6 months.
Are you going to be helping John pick out his ring? Yes. We're going to go in like July to pick out my wedding band and his ring together. So that'll be super exciting.
But I kind of already have an idea picked
Yeah.
out. Like, I'm a silver guy, so I'm going to get silver. But really, I don't like super shiny rings. I kind of just like basically what this is. How it's like a brushed or like a hammered metal. Don't mind my nails. They're all painty and dirty.
Yeah, he's been painting for a week straight. Do you guys plan on getting any other animals in the near future? Yeah. So we
getting an animal.
We actually don't have any animals right now. All the animals you guys see in my videos, Rascal, the dog, it's actually his older brother's dog, but they live together. So Rascal's obviously a big part of our videos. And then where I live, my roommates have 2 cats, but us singular, like we don't have any animals, but whenever we move in together, we will be getting animals. Probably going to start out with cats because...
Or dogs.
No, I think we're going to start out with cats.
Or dogs.
Depending on if we're renting or buying, but if we're renting, cats are cheaper and they're also more low maintenance than dogs. And for like traveling and both of us working and going to school, like we need more low maintenance. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for asking those questions. We love answering them. We love talking about our engagement and our life. So
yeah.
We appreciate you guys being interested in that.
Yeah, seriously.
If you have any other questions we didn't answer, comment them down below and I will respond.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching. I love you guys and I'm so excited for more wedding content on YouTube.
For real.
We're going dress shop. Well, I'm going dress shopping.
I wish I could go.
In 2 weeks, and I will be recording it. So, stay tuned. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Ooh. Bye,
Oh, you
guys.
smell so good.